Luke says she doesn't believe that line you just fed her, but she's not going to fight about it. But she's also not going to forget it. She's going to tuck that away in the memory. So later on, I don't know, a couple days later, she can bring it up when you're laying in bed. Say, honey, I just think it's funny that that's how those conversations start. Anyway, click the links for Odyssey, Bit Chute, or Sports Channel, Drone Channel, and Coffee, the various other links. People call Twitter, it's being referred to now as the Black Mirror. They go, yeah, you stare into this black mirror and depression comes out. I was on Twitter today and I thought, yeah, that's pretty accurate. It's a very depressing place. Not to sound too, I don't know, flighty, fruity. There's a lot of negative vibes that come out of Twitter. You're always catching the Chicken Little at the worst day, or you're always getting somebody on PMS, and it's just this somebody who's it's like Ghostbusters too. It's just the hatred flowing throughout Twitter. It's like it's always going to be this undercurrent of seething incandescent rage. So someone said that Brie Larson is going to be in Fast and the Furious 10, and she's going to play the block of wood that the cars jump over. So my response to that was they should use a steamroller. So Brie Larson, this is just a kind of a slow news day, and it was just an opportunity to talk about what a horrible person Brie Larson is for 10 minutes. So I thought, yes, I will take that opportunity. She's a racist, sexist, ageist. If you're familiar with her comments, and she's some BS awards, the I don't know, like the Weisheimer Awards show for being a virtue signaling twat. It's like we should have our own awards show, the YouTube awards ceremony. And the thing is, if you say anything, she was saying, she had that famous line of, I don't need a 40-year-old white guy to criticize my movies. It's not made for him. It's like, your movies, those movies aren't made for anyone. I think you needed a lot of probably 30 to 40-year-old white guys to go see Captain Marvel. Like, God, you look at the people, I know, the thing is, now that the Marvel is kind of winding its superhero thing down, they're going to probably segue into something else. You look at the movies and you look at the people who got so excited about them and just thinking like, that just seems like a different day of, kind of like leading up. It's Weimar and it's leading up to Weimar to see people get excited about those movies. And I never really understood that. If the movies were fantastic, maybe that'd be one thing, but I don't think any of the Marvel movies, and I use Marvel loosely, that whole genre. Were there fantastic movies in that genre the past like 36 movies that came out in the past 20 plus years? Maybe the Batman, the 2007, maybe that Batman was actually kind of felt like it had some real movie scenes in there. Like there are little pieces in there where there was some acting going on. Or the first Iron Man, because it had a redemption arc for a guy who was drinking and had to undergo some troubles, and he kind of came out of it. It's like they tried to put some real themes in there. But everything after that, it was just like Transformers kind of movies made for China, just explosions and just nonsense. So to see so many people get so excited for those movies, it's like, there's a soy boy meme for a reason. The reason those guys have those open-mouthed excitement about. And again, I'm not saying like if it was a fantastic movie, that would be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go see 77 Star Wars when it comes out. You're like, oh, I just saw this movie. It's fantastic. You have to go see it. It's like, oh yeah, that's 77 Star Wars. And they go, oh yeah, no, I'll go back and see it with you in the theater. No, I wasn't around in 77 Star Wars, but you get the idea. I don't think there's any, well, let me correct myself. There are no movies like that. Maybe Lord of the Rings 20 years ago. Maybe Harry Potter, though I kind of think Harry Potter had a built-in audience with the books, like people knew what they were getting into. So other than that, I can't really imagine a movie getting worked up over. Maybe if I saw Guardians of the Galaxy, if you saw it, say, on the high seas, you might see it and then go, oh, I should probably go catch this in the theater before it gets out of the theater. Because that was probably one movie that kind of had it was vaguely reminiscent of a better time in Hollywood. But everything other than that, really, like the Chinese Transformers was what was Transformers? Well, there's a girl with huge boobs jogging across the desert while explosions are going on in the background and giant CGI robots are fighting. Can we make a movie around that concept? You bet your ass you could. And I could too. That's what I want to see in movies. I want Megan Fox, I think, with those just jogging just amazing. What an amazing scene that was. That's all I remember about that movie. And some other cringy scenes where they're pandering to China, and hey, if it paid off for them, it paid off for them. So here's the thing about Brie Larson, and talking about what a horrible, horrible person she is. If I say anything about Brie Larson, there will be soy boys who will come into the replies, and they will copy. I think I must have blocked them, most of them, from the last time I did a video. They will just copy paste the same comments in the replies, like to every little comment they'll comment. It'll be the same thing about Brie Larson just wants to bring more seats to the table. Her comment from like 4 years ago. It's like, maybe it's been long enough that the Brie Larson stans are not going to come find this video. Maybe it hasn't been long enough. They're just nuts. Like, can you find a better actor to be a fan of? Like an actor who can act. Like that look on her face, that's a lot of what her movies are that look. Anyway, so first of all, everyone but soy boys hate Brie Larson. Even the people she works with, apparently. If you've seen the body language of her sitting next to the cast, that wasn't comfortable even to watch. Like, they weren't doing a bit. There wasn't a punchline at the end where they all, I don't know, start joking around with each other. It was just she's a deeply awkward person. And maybe hate is too strong a word for Brie Larson. It's more that she's just the most annoying person. She doesn't actually rise to the level of hate. It's just somebody who, you're going to be hanging out with for an evening. You kind of roll your eyes like, is it Brie again? She's going to have some stupid, like, whatever, some, I don't know, left-wing bizarro fantasy. Here's the thing about Hollywood actors who are acting on screen. They're not the same thing. Like, someone who's reciting lines is not the same thing as somebody who does a stand-up or something live where there's a little bit more leeway and back and forth. Or someone has to do a live show, even a YouTube show. It's like there's a certain skill set that those people polish by just, or even this kind of stuff, you just by polishing, by just having to talk on the fly kind of thing, where people who are actors, like, they don't get that. And she's got her own YouTube channel, she's doing fitness and stuff, and she's in amazing shape, but she never really warmed up to her audience. Like, she always just keeps coming across as, because if you don't like the video, don't leave a comment. It's like, is that humorous? Because it almost feels like it could have been humorous if you put a smile on it. Like, you should really have gone over the top and tried to let people know that you're kidding, because you really do come across as a little bit robotic. Anyway, so no, it doesn't rise to the level of hating Brie Larson. It's just eye rolling. It's just, she's difficult. She's difficult. But at least when you're in a room with everyone around Brie Larson, assuming you're surrounded by normal people, you would all be like, you could all look at each other and just roll your eyes, kind of smile, and be like, oh, God, Brie. What a dumb twat this Brie Larson is. But like, she'd be the only one who's, I don't know, talking about, like, we gotta save the spotted owl rainforests for, like, I don't know, African babies in South America, or, whatever nonsense, like the Hollywood echo chamber types, the smug types. Even South Park made fun of these people. Anyway, lizard, it's like lizard brain, lizard person, narcissist Hollywood types. It's just like her model. I don't know if you've been following the Amber Heard, Johnny Depp stuff, if you read some of the transcripts behind the scenes of like how Amber Heard's brain thinks. Like, Hollywood's on a different level from us. Like, y'all know those type A narcissist, borderline personality disorder people. I mean, you know them from life, and you start talking to them, you realize, like, we're on different pages. Like, they're just, they view people as objects to either assist them or push out of their way kind of thing. Like, they're viewing things as a different, and there's a lot of pressure on people in Hollywood. It's like, you always got to look for that next movie. I get that, but I mean, there are some Hollywood people who kind of come across as human, and there are some that are just like, there's no human personality. Or let me say this: if you're in Hollywood, there are some who can at least act and pretend to come across as human. And I also look at Brie Larson. I think she's got borderline personality disorder or something. She comes across as just wooden and uncomfortable. Anyway, so Fast and Furious is going to make $1 billion. It came out, the first one came out 20 years ago, I think. Just a real, that. I think that first one it had Vin Diesel in it when he was kind of popular, but even when that came out, that would have been, I think, kind of a grade B movie. Like, you going into it, and it feels like it was a straight to video release, but this thing, that just caught fire. People are totally into, car movies, if they're done half decently, it's like turns out there was really an audience for that. Cars and motorcycles and people racing, and they do this stupid thing in car movies where they're drag racing in a straight line, and they're just constantly, the camera's cutting back to them changing gears, and back in the day they had probably foot clutch pedals, that kind of thing. It's like it's a drag race. How many gears are you going to go through in a drag race? It's not how it works, unless, I don't know, you're some like modern Toyota with a 10-speed transmission, but they don't have a foot pedal anyway. Anyway, Fast and Furious is going to have this, it's going to be $1 billion, Fast and Furious Part 10. These kind of people know what is it? It should have Megan Fox or someone equivalent jogging around, cheering on the cars, the boobs bouncing in the background. It's like insane special effects and stunts, cars jumping over things, and somebody just did that in a Tesla, I think, in San Francisco. It's like, hey, let's destroy a $120,000 car by seeing if a Tesla can fly. Plot twist, it doesn't. So muscle cars, machine guns, and explosions. It'd be like James Bond, where the machine gun pops out of a trunk and there's like smoke grenades and oil slicks and whatever. I mean, if anything, you should do like a modern spoof on James Bond. So that's half the movie, and if you add in some funny lines and chicks in bikinis, it's like you're pretty well set on making something. People really don't understand the power of chicks in bikinis in movies. You really want to include them more and more, not less and less. And I look at Hollywood now, I realize, like, oh, we're not going to have those chicks in bikinis in movies anymore, are we? You're going to have to go to like the Asylum. They make these low-budget films that are mostly bad, but there was one called Bikini Spring Break, I think, and it was funny. And it was 5 girls who were just running around in a bikini for like various, I don't know, they had to do something stupid. It was like, raise money to save the ski school center, or something like that. If you're from the 80s, you remember those movies. It was all about skiing and girls in bikinis, and they come back and try to save the thing and drink beer, and maybe there'd be a topless hot tubbing scene, something like that. It was like John Cusack did a movie making fun of that, which was Hot Tub Time Machine, which was pretty good. Anyway, this was 12 minutes of making fun of Brie Larson. Just a horrible person. And the reply guys won't listen to this, so they'll just go in the replies and copy paste. Brie Larson wasn't actually racist, sexist, and ageist. It's like, buddy, the video. I'm not saying I hate white dudes. Her real name is like Brianna DeSaulniers something. So she changed it to the Cheese Thief, and she had a pop music band. Just one of those, like, Hollywood would do that with young girls who could sing a little bit, like they could carry a tune a little bit, play piano, play a little guitar, and they were, like the Disney type of kids. I don't know what they called that. Like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera were in that, and it's people have been talking about having kids in Hollywood. Even South Park makes fun of it. Having kids in Hollywood. What a den of vipers that is. It's like, oh, but there's so much money in it. Yeah, but it's not without a whole lot of risk. Who's that guy who was working for Nickelodeon? He was in that other John Cusack movie, Better Off Dead. He's a great big fat guy in that movie, and he's a great big fat guy throughout all the other movies. He's a guy with a foot fetish. He includes a lot of feet in movies, and I don't know. People said he had kind of a weird reputation. Oh, where is I going with this? Hollywood's just full of these Epstein types. It's got to be weird to think, we're going to drive across and move to L.A. And it's like, so you got a kid who's like that enormously talented, and then they turn out to be a spurg worth $10 million. But it's like, the bigger picture, I don't know. I mean, because you can think about, like, Brie Larson, making all this money. It's like, yeah, but there are a lot of others that fell prey to Weinstein and probably took the 9mm aspirin or got into drugs or that kind of thing. It's like it's not without risk. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next episode.